What's good, YouTube? It's Martha Beam back with another video. Today we got another hockey psychology video. This video is called "This Moment Changed the NHL Forever." Shout out to Hockey Psychology. Shout out to And the Light. She commented on I think it was the video before this one. She said Hockey Psychology just dropped a banger, and I think this is the video that she's talking about. If it is, leave a comment down below and let me know if this is the right video. But let's not waste no time. I'm gonna be a little bit quiet in this video. My whole family's sleeping. It's late at night. I know you probably wasn't expecting this upload to go up, but I said 90 days straight. I gotta bang it out. It ain't hit 12 o'clock yet, so we get it out. Thank you, Jesus, for allowing us to be here another day. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications. Let's get into it.
Is Buddy Robinson, a former NHL player that you've probably never heard of. He played 62 games in the league, averaged about 9 minutes a game, and in that span, only scored 4 career goals.
Damn.
But in 2023, and what would be his last game of his NHL career, Buddy Robinson scored a goal that would change the entire future of the NHL.
The entire future, though?
Now, here's a question that may grind your gears. Have you ever been traveling and stuck without internet? It's
Oh my
brutal. You got
goodness.
no way of checking if the Sabres are losing, if the Leafs blew a 4-1
What's
lead
that?
comes in. Saley is the East connected with Saley.
Yo, that was smooth.
It's April 11th, 2023.
Okay.
The second last game of the regular season between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Both of these teams, shockingly, have a lot riding on this game for two vastly different reasons. For the last decade or so, both franchises have enjoyed a lot of success. The Blackhawks were the closest thing hockey fans had seen to a dynasty in the modern NHL. 3 cups in 6 years, led by the likes of Duncan Keith, Patrick Kane, and Jonathan Toews. But after winning their last cup in 2015, the Blackhawks never got back to the height of their success. 2 first-round exits, along with missing the playoffs in back-to-back years, prompted Chicago to start the rebuild in 2020. The Blackhawks released a statement to tell their fans that they were intentionally going to suck, and key members of the core were either traded
Intentionally going to suck is crazy.
or aged out, with Chicago missing the playoffs in back-to-back seasons.
2%. They had a 2% possibility. Oh my gosh, look at the overall D. 4 is D, first line D plus, defense C minus, first pair C plus, top 6 D plus. Damn. Oh, this was rough. Ooh, this was rough. This was real rough.
In rebuild mode, the Blackhawks came into the 22-23 season fully prepared for the full-on tank job, trading players like Alex DeBrincat and Kirby Dach at the draft for the full-on.
Oh, I thought this was the injury list. Okay, it's a few people on there. Immigration non-roster. What is that? What's that mean?
Tank job, trading players like Alex DeBrincat and Kirby Dach at the draft. They also let Dylan Strome walk while nudging Patrick Kane out the door at the trade deadline. All of it was in hope of finishing last and drafting the next generational superstar in Connor Bedard. So coming into this game against Pittsburgh,
I heard of him.
all they had to do was lose and they'd have the best odds to land Bedard. Now on the other side is a Pittsburgh team that is seemingly clinging on to what seems like the glory days. You see, after Sidney Crosby won his first cup with Pittsburgh in 2009, the Penguins took a while to go back. A ton of regular season success and some deep playoff runs ultimately ended up with them falling short. That was until they won back-to-back cups in 2016 and 2017. With the potential to forge their own dynasty, they would fall well short, being eliminated in the first round in 4 of the next 5 seasons. With the Crosby-Malkin duo well into their mid-30s, this could have been their last chance to get into the dance. Sprinkle in the fact that they hold the longest active postseason run across all 4 major sports. This was a must-win game. The math was simple. With Florida and New York ahead in the standings, the Penguins needed to win out the remaining 2 games to make it into the playoffs. Against the last-place Blackhawks team, a desperate squad led by the greatest player of this generation seemed like a tap-in on paper. But the game isn't played on a piece of paper, and from the opening face-off, things feel weird. The Penguins look tight, gripped by pressure, and the Blackhawks look like they're playing with nothing to lose. What's even stranger is that goalie Peter Mrazek for the Blackhawks, who is statistically one of the worst goalies in the league in the 22-23 season, is putting on a performance.
He says statistically one of the worst is crazy.
For the ages. And so late in the second period, Chicago would draw first blood. The Penguins clawed back early in the third with a power play goal, but the tension was already boiling over. Every missed chance, every second this game stays tied, the tighter the Penguins get. That's because the Penguins in the 22-23 season were a fragile mess. Despite having this core group of players, Pittsburgh built a reputation of losing in these types of situations throughout the year. So even though this game is tied at 1 in the third period, the next goal feels monumental. And what seems like a relatively harmless looking play, Chicago's Caleb Jones throws a shot from range, and in front of the net is Buddy Robinson. The 31-year-old journeyman, in just his 9th game of the season,
he scored it.
Has found his way in the slot with a grade A chance. And then it happens.
Got it very late last night from Chicago. One-shot score. It's Buddy Robinson.
That goal right there, off the funny bounce and all, would create a domino effect so seismic that it would change the entire future of the NHL. 30 seconds later, the wheels fall off for Pittsburgh as Chicago scores another goal, and the Penguins never recover. The win for Chicago meant that they blew their chance for the best odds to pick first overall in the NHL draft. Those 2 points allowed them to finish
their management was probably fuming. Their management was probably fucking red. Like, oh my God. They should have he should have put a shot of the management's face, bro. I know they were
third
fuming.
Best odds behind Anaheim and Columbus. As for Pittsburgh, the loss eliminated them from playoff contention and allowed the Florida Panthers to clinch a playoff spot and book their first round matchup against the best regular season team in NHL history, in the Boston Bruins. Now, Florida, despite squeaking in, has made some seismic changes prior to this season.
So this this was the Bruins team that Marchand was still on this Bruins team, right? If I'm thinking correctly.
After getting swept by their rival in the Tampa Bay Lightning the previous year, the Panthers traded their leading point scorer and superstar winger Jonathan Huberdeau, along with other pieces, to the Calgary Flames in exchange for Matthew Tkachuk. Despite everyone saying that the Panthers were out of their mind, Tkachuk symbolized a change in culture for Florida, and they needed it going up against Boston.
Turned out to be the right move.
The difference between the Bruins and the Panthers in the standings was a whopping 43-point difference. A 65-win season for Boston meant that they looked poised to take care of business early, and they did, jumping out to a 3-1 series lead over the Panthers.
Right there.
That brings them to this moment here, a very close Game 5, all tied up with 5 seconds left in regulation. And out of a cannon, Boston's Brad Marchand would get a chance to completely ice this series on a breakaway.
Against Bobrovsky? Bobrovsky. Good save, boy. Good save, boy.
From that save on from Sergei Bobrovsky, the Florida Panthers never died. They won Game 5, 6, and then 7 in OT to complete arguably the most monumental comeback in NHL history. Then on May 8th of 2023, somehow, some way, the Blackhawks winning that game against Pittsburgh ends up being a blessing in disguise, as the third best odds result in them winning the draft lottery to get the right to select Connor Bedard. 10 days after that, Florida eliminated Toronto in 5 games, prompting the Leafs to make massive change and fire GM Kyle Dubas, who shortly after would become the GM of the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Panthers would go on for a miracle run to the Cup final, with Matthew Tkachuk leading the charge. Unfortunately, they would fall painfully short to Vegas in 5 games. But what they did get was an unparalleled amount of experience in a season where they would have missed the playoffs if the Penguins beat Chicago.
9-3, damn, Vegas went crazy.
And the Panthers take that experience and go all the way back to the finals to beat the Oilers en route to winning their first Stanley Cup in franchise history.
Oh, this
As
video
for Boston,
is nice.
The rise of the Panthers came back to haunt them again in the 2024 playoffs after getting bounced in the second round by Florida in 6 games. The 2025 season rolled around and everything went downhill. They fired their coach mid-season, and by the time the deadline arrived, Boston made a huge change. Captain Brad Marchand, The very man who could have put an end to all of this before it even started in that Game 5 of the 2023 series was traded to none other than the Florida Panthers.
Yo, that's
Marshawn would
crazy
be
to
one of the
think.
instrumental pieces of a Panther team who would go on to be Connor McDavid for the second year in a row and repeat as Cup champions. All of this because an NHL journeyman you've never heard of scored a goal in Game 81 of the regular season.
Yo, it's all Robinson's fault.
What if I told you that this ripple effect started well before Buddy Robinson? Let's go back to the 2016 draft. Austin Matthews would be the first overall pick as the Leafs wanted their franchise center. And the two Finns in Patrick Laine and Jesse Puljujarvi, who just came off a brilliant performance at the World Juniors, would likely go second and third. Slotted in the fourth pick was the Edmonton Oilers, and Matthew Tkachuk believed that after those three, he was headed to Edmonton after seeing smiles and signals from the Oilers table. However, when Columbus went off the board with their third pick and took Pierre-Luc Dubois, the Oilers, according to Tkachuk, looked like they were scrambling and apparently hit a jersey. So when the time came, they took Jesse Puljujarvi with their fourth overall pick.
Wow.
Matthew Tkachuk ended up falling to Calgary at sixth overall, landing him on the opposite side of the Battle of Alberta. A possible team that would have included McDavid, Draisaitl, and Tkachuk never ended up happening. And although the Flames had some integral pieces like Johnny Gaudreau, Sam Bennett, Rasmus Anderson, and Tkachuk himself, Calgary's lack of playoff success was documented with them never making it past the first round since Tkachuk arrived. That was until they'd meet the Edmonton Oilers in the second round of the 2022 playoffs. For the first time in 31 years, the Battle of Alberta was ignited in the postseason. Both these teams were contenders. Calgary had won the Pacific Division, while Edmonton entered with a red-hot duo in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. After a chaotic Game 1 that saw Calgary win by a final score of 9-6, we witnessed one of the most dominating stretches of Connor McDavid's career. 12 points in 5 games, and the first player in NHL history to reach 26 points in the first 12 playoff games. Then came Game 5. With the Oilers up 3-1 in the series and it going into overtime, it was none other than Connor McDavid who would score the series-clinching goal to eliminate Calgary. That goal single-handedly pushed the Flames into a rebuild. With Johnny Gaudreau walking to free agency, a month later, Tkachuk told the Flames he wasn't going to re-sign after his last year and requested a trade. That sparked the very trade that changed everything for the Florida Panthers. Tkachuk was dealt to Florida, and the rest is history. In a world where Matthew Tkachuk is drafted by the Edmonton Oilers, we may have seen an Oilers dynasty. Maybe if McDavid doesn't single-handedly put the Flames into a rebuild, he never ends up falling short twice to Florida in back-to-back seasons. And maybe if Buddy Robinson doesn't score that goal, the entire league and its complexion looks completely different. Or maybe everything went the way it was supposed to, because that's the butterfly effect. When something almost insignificant spurs a series of events that leads to something much, much bigger.
Yo, that was nice. Yo, that was nice. That was nice. I'm going to check out that one. I'm going to check out that one next. Hit that like button if you want to see that one. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn post notifications on. Remember, stay peaceful, stay positive, stay disciplined, and always, always, always be kind. If you're looking for more hockey content just like this, check out the video right there in the middle of the screen, or hit that little profile icon in the bottom right. I'll catch y'all in the next one.